So this is what I've got this week. This is going to be a nice cream and white kind of polished plaster, but we've got a little bit of prepping and filling out to do first. There's a few little cracks up and down the wall and a little bit of filling in the corner. So we're going to crack on with the prep, get it all nice and ready for putting the base coat on. There's not too many bad bits on this wall. We've just got, there's a hairline crack there. It doesn't seem to be moving because it's a dot and dab wall. So we're just going to scrim it, double fill it out. The same as where I've put this strip light in. There's a crack and that is moving, so we're gonna scrim it, but that's about the best we can do with that because it's there and there. And then there was a patch there that I fixed. That was actually filled with tile grout, so we took the tile grout out, put the first coat of filler on, wait for it to dry, we might force dry it a little bit, and then put the second coat on and sand it. So today's goal is to get all the filled out bits done, primed and possibly base coated as well. It would be nice. All the filler's on and it's dry now. It's been on for about 3 hours. What we do with filler to force dry it is I use a floor fan like this. Rather than using heat, a little bit of air circulation works pretty well. And because we're going straight onto plaster as well, the plaster sucks in the filler, so it's ready to be sanded. For sanding it, what I use is my Merkur sander, obviously everything is dustless then, and then an 80 grit sandpaper pad. Just to go over it, all I've got to be careful of is that I don't sand too far back into the scrim. So the primer's on now and it's all dry. It's been on about 2 hours. So now we can see it's all on. It's a white colour. That patch down there still isn't dry, but I can sort that tomorrow morning. That's the colours that we're thinking of. So what I'm doing is I'm just mixing up a base colour. Even though the base colour is going to get hidden and I can put it on in white, I like tinting it the same colour just so it gives the wall the same feel. And if there's any bits that are proud on the corners when we're done, it's the same matching colour. So I'm just going to mix this up now. Roughly the same colour, not exactly the same as that, but a similar shade. So for putting the base coat on, what I find best is a big spatula. So this is what I'm using. It's the biggest one I've got, which is this big Merkur one. This is perfect for the base coat, but you can't use it for any other coat. This is purely just for the base. It's too big to get the right amount of pressure on. It's just perfect for the base. So it's day 2 on this job now. I put the second coat on this morning and it's all nice and dry, ready to sand. And now we can get on with sanding it and putting the third coat on. We always get a lot of questions in terms of drying time with Venetian plaster. And usually when I'm on a training course, I always tell the students between 6 and 8 hours for drying in between each coat. But I know by looking at the wall that it's dry. It's only a super thin layer anyway. We're not even working with a millimetre worth of product. So it dries a lot quicker than what we say. We usually just give it a little bit more time than what it needs. So for the sanding, the main bit of kit that I use is my Merkur. This is essential for Venetian plastering. You can get cheaper versions, but this is what I use. It takes all the dust away and it's a really decent bit of kit. So We've got the orbital sander. On this, for most Venetian plaster, I use 240 in between each coat, and then we don't sand down the top coat. Please remember that, because we get some students that sand down the top coat and it ends in a disaster. So in between first and second coat, we sand it down with 240 usually. I've got a sanding block for some tougher edges, and a triangle piece, which gets us inside the corners and a little bit, so we're just going to give it a sand down. As a quick little side note, we do get a lot of people asking for training and stuff like that, so I do have online and in-person courses available. Hopefully if we've done it right, all the links should be in my bio. You can always drop me a message on any of my other socials. These videos are informative that I do for YouTube, but we don't go into the full depth. I do that on purpose because to learn Venetian plaster properly, it is essential that you come on a training course, in my opinion. So even though I try and put as much information as I can onto the YouTube videos, it's always best to come and join us on a course. I've got them at the minute in Birmingham and Manchester, and we're looking at setting one up in Northern Ireland as well.
So at this stage, I didn't actually realise that the microphone wasn't turned on, so you can see me doing a lot of talking, but there's no sound, so we're going to have to do it manually with a voiceover. So basically what I'm doing here is applying the third coat. I've got my 2 base coats on underneath, and as you can see I've already applied the third coat to that little wall section there to the left of me. When I'm doing this, I'm applying it in super small areas at a time, and this is the secret to keeping it shiny, because we're only controlling a small area at a time, so it's always going to look good because I'm not over rushing myself, which is probably what I'm explaining here. This is where most people go wrong when applying Venetian plaster, because they apply the third coat too quick and then try and shine it up. Slow is fast with Venetian plaster, or at least that's how I found to do it, and I think that works out best. When I'm doing this, I've got a few colours mixed on my trowel and I'm blending through the shades. In my head I've got a rough idea of how this marbling wants to come out, so I just sort of go with the flow, put it on the wall, and I find that's the best way of me making the design. So you see I've got the white sections there, and now I'm going over the top with the darker sections to make it a nice marbling look. You can see how I'm using the spatula. This is the trick to getting the design on, is knowing how to use these spatulas, because if you've got them and you don't know how to use them, you're going to make a real mess of the wall. When I'm doing this as well, you can see I'm working diagonally, so I'm working from the top corner to the bottom. This is because we don't work like normal plastering, where we'd work in square sections, we'd end up with overlap lines. So by working with the pattern, any overlap lines that I do get, I can hide later on with the gold leaf. That's a little tip. Putting the third coat on like this usually takes a good few hours, so for a wall this size, I think it took me 4 and a bit, if not 5 hours, just to put the third coat on this wall. I am super particular with it, so I could probably speed the process up a little bit, but for me, I like to take my time, and I love doing these smaller projects rather than big ones. I don't like doing any larger projects because I have to rush. This stage, what I'm doing now and explaining, is the burnishing trellis. This is applying pressure to the product to make it shiny, and I think my audio is working again, so we'll go back to speaking.
So I've finished getting the top coat on now. I'm burnishing it all. This is ready for a polish tomorrow and some gold leaf. So we're going to put the gold leaf in this lighter section and the brown section here as well. It's already looking really nice. I'm really pleased with how this one's turned out. It's a nice feature. I've got a nice square wall. It's burnished up, and then tomorrow all we have to do is the polishing stages. So I do try and film as much as I can when we're putting the top coat on, just because it's enjoyable to watch, but obviously I've got to concentrate on doing the job, so I don't film all of it. We only film little bits when I can, because my priority is getting the wall on nice and flat and getting all the colours blended. We get a lot of people asking, how do we sort of match the colours and where does the idea come from? And to be honest, we kind of make it up as we go along. So once I've done one section, I can look where we need to go and then move on to the next bit. So even I don't know fully how the wall's going to turn out until it's fully done. So I'm on the final day of the job now. All the polished plaster behind me is completely dry because we've left it overnight, and now we're going out with the polishing stages. So this isn't the waxing stage, this is what we do before. I've hand burnished all of the polished plaster, and now I'm going over using my flex polisher. It's just a rotary polisher, just spins round, and we usually do a 1000 pad, 2000 pad, 3000, and then a 4000. Going all of it uniform to give it a nice even shine. What this does is this just makes the shine a lot sort of deeper. It takes a while, but this is the secret to a really high shine.
Now it's on, it's time to put the gold leaf on. So when I'm putting the gold leaf on, I paint it on with the gold leaf glue first, and then once we've done the glue, we stick the gold leaf over the top. It's a pretty simple process, but you definitely need to know how to do it.
Now I'm just about midway with the gold leaf, so I've put this section on. You can see I've rubbed a little bit of it off there. So what we do when we gold leaf in is we put the gold leaf glue on first, give it 5 minutes to set, and then I've got the gold leaf sheets here. So you can see they're really light and delicate. And then we just gently tap them on. Leave it 10 to 15 minutes, and then scrub it off. I cut my sheets in smaller bits just so I don't have to cut them into big bits. It's easier to do these sections here, so I'm just going to carry on, run this through, and I'm going to have another little bit of gold leaf up there and another bit down in this corner. You don't want to add too much, it can end up taking away from the wall then, and we want the Venetian plaster to be the main feature and the gold leaf just to complement it a little bit.
Now the gold leaf's on, I'm hoovering it off and brushing it off at the same time. I use the hoover just because the gold leaf does end up getting everywhere, and if you keep a bit in the mess down in the client's house, that's a good option for everyone. Once all the gold leaf is rubbed off, we'll go on with the wax. Now the waxing is a stage that most people overlook. One, because your wall's already shiny, and two, because they don't think it makes a difference. But a lot of people end up putting too much wax on, and that can end up ruining the wall and making it hazy. So there is a little trick to the wax, and it just takes a lot of time. There's no rush in putting the wax on, and it's the final section, so you shouldn't want to be rushing it anyway.
So this one's all finished up now. We've got a beige colour, a healthy amount of gold leaf. So we've got a nice amount of gold in there. All the brown colours running through. And what we're doing is we wrap the gold around, so it starts there, goes around the little alcove, and then up. And again, we've got a really nice shine on this one. Let me know what you think, and for any training or any inquiries, drop me a message. So this one's all done. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll come back next time.